creation of state police, revealing that he had assured the United States and European partners that he would implement state police. He stressed that state police must happen as part of efforts to improve internal security and strengthen governance at the subnational level. The president spoke at the 14th National Caucus meeting of the APC at the State House Conference Center, Abuja. He also insisted that local government autonomy must work in practical terms, urging governors to stop withholding funds meant for council chairpersons. The president's comments came amid rising security pressures across the country, renewed calls for decentralized policing, and the push to implement the Supreme Court's judgment on local government autonomy and direct allocation to councils.
The Independent National Electoral Commission today intervened in the leadership crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, summoning the party's rival factions to its headquarters in Abuja. The meeting brought together by the faction led by Taminu Turaki and the group headed by Abdurrahman Mohammed, which is backed by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Speaking at the opening of the meeting, the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amukbitan, said the intervention became necessary following a series of conflicting correspondence received from the party. He noted that the intervention was also informed by preparations for the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections scheduled for February 21, 2026, as well as the governorship polls in Ekiti and Osun states slated for June and July 2026, respectively. The INEC chairman stressed that the Commission's actions were guided strictly by the Constitution, the Electoral Act, and its internal regulations, assuring the factions of its neutrality.
The Senate has confirmed the appointment of Orise Meyiwa Eyeson as the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. It also confirmed the appointment of Saidu Mohammed as the CEO of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA. This confirmation followed the consideration of a report by the Joint Committee chaired by Senator Abdurrahman Kawu. A former managing director of the NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed, had on Wednesday resigned amid corruption allegations leveled against him by the chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote. Presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga, who disclosed this in a statement, also said Benga Komolafe had stepped down as the chief executive of the NUPRC.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has destroyed fake, expired and substandard regulated products valued at over 55 billion naira. The exercise, which was carried out at the Monia dump site, Ibadan, Oyo State, is part of efforts to protect Nigerians from consumption of harmful products. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi files in the details.
That was the scene at the Monia dump site in Ibadan as the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, commenced the destruction of large consignments of fake, expired and substandard products seized from across the country. The exercise, described as routine, is aimed at preventing the recirculation of unsafe and unwholesome NAFDAC-regulated products capable of endangering public health. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, said the agency remains committed to safeguarding the health of Nigerians. Professor Adeyeye, whose speech was delivered by the Deputy Director in charge of Pharmaceutical Drugs Investigation, Florence Uba, explained that the products destroyed include substandard and falsified medical products, unwholesome processed foods, unsafe cosmetics, counterfeit goods and expired items confiscated from manufacturers, importers and distributors. She added that damaged and expired products voluntarily submitted by more than 70 compliant companies, non-governmental organizations and trade unions were also destroyed.
A powerful antibiotics that should take care of so many so many bacteria, viral, and also many. But this is a fake brand of it, and they will make it look exactly like original. This is a product ordinarily you give to a child that is having diarrhea. But these miscreants have gone to fake it, and at this point, if you take this thinking it's original, obviously it's not going to work. It helps so many men. As men are growing up, the engine is getting old, so they need some supplements to maintain what they are and what they should be. But when you take the fake one, obviously you are doing more damage to your body than necessary.
The NAFDAC boss commended security agencies and regulatory bodies for their collaboration in the fight against substandard and falsified products. She also appealed to religious leaders, community leaders, health practitioners, and the media to intensify public education against patronizing quacks and unauthorized medicine and food dealers, noting that only through collective responsibility that the health and safety of all Nigerians can be guaranteed. With the continuous destruction exercise, NAFDAC reaffirmed its determination to continue eliminating fake, expired, and unsafe regulated products to ensure a healthier and safer society. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
This broadcast of Newscope is coming to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has officially inaugurated the Dr. Oluyole Park, located along Airport Road, Alakia, Ibadan. The park was inaugurated during a special ceremony held at the site on Airport Road, Alakia, Ibadan, marking another milestone in the state government's efforts to enhance public infrastructure and honor notable personalities. Details are presented by the Governor's Office correspondent, Oluyole Sulaiman.
It was another historic moment in the state as the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, represented by his deputy, Barrister Oluyole, commissioned a park named after a former governor of the state, Dr. Oluyole, located along Airport Road, Alakia, Ibadan. Speaking at the event, Governor Makinde noted that the park is part of the state government's effort to preserve Oyo State's rich cultural heritage and history. He added that the facility provided at the park will enable both indigenes and visitors to better understand the unique cultural identity and peculiarity of the various zones of the state. While eulogizing the virtues of the late sage, Dr. Oluyole, the governor urged prospective users of the park to ensure its proper maintenance and to use the facility strictly for its intended purposes.
In his 20s, he was the commissioner in Oyo State.
Earlier in his address, the Commissioner for Public Works and Transport, Abdulmajid Mugbajubala, commended Governor Seyi Makinde for the various developmental strides recorded by the state during his tenure. He described the park as an aesthetic and integral component of the newly rehabilitated Samuel Ladoke Akintola International Airport.
I wish to commend all stakeholders whose dedication and technical expertise ensured that the project was delivered to standard and in line with the government expectation. In
their separate goodwill messages, the President General of the Central Council of Ibadan Indigenes, CCII, Chief Sulaiman Ajewole, Oluyole Alabi, and a son of Dr. Oluyole, Mr. Lamide Oluyole, appreciated Governor Seyi Makinde for his compassion in immortalizing the late sage.
On behalf of the royal family, we wish to congratulate the Oyo State government on the commissioning of this brilliant monument, the Oluyole Leisure Park. It's heartening to see the life of such a distinguished statesman honored in a way that benefits the entire community.
It will be recalled that on December 7, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde led several dignitaries across the state on a leisure visit to the newly built park. In attendance were traditional rulers led by the Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Bimbola Owade, the government functionaries and political appointees, among whom was the chairman of BCOS, Mrs. Dotun Oluyole Olalekan Sulaiman. BCOS News.
Oyo State government remains committed to providing necessary support to the Polytechnic Ibadan, ensuring it achieves its mandate of providing quality education to students and uphold its esteemed position. Governor Seyi Makinde, in his capacity as visitor to the institution, stated this during the 40th convocation ceremony, where diplomas and prizes were awarded to the 2024-2025 graduates. BCOS reporter Olamiposi Shola covered the event and reported that the best graduating student received 6 million naira courtesy of the Oni of Ife.
The Polytechnic Ibadan 1000 capacity auditorium was the chosen venue for the 48th convocation ceremony, which welcomed distinguished dignitaries and scholars who sought to identify with the institution. In his remarks, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde, visitor to the institution, pledged government support towards ensuring a smooth learning experience and conducive environment for the institution. The governor, represented by his deputy, Barrister Bayo Lawal, stated that the government would collaborate with the institution's management to facilitate the conversion of the ad hoc staff to permanent staff. In declaring the convocation open, Professor Moshood Nassar, chairman of the Governing Council, extended appreciation to Governor Seyi Makinde for his unrelenting support towards institutional advancement. The acting rector of the Polytechnic Ibadan, Dr. Taiwo Lasisi, stated that the graduates have been equipped with various vocational skills capable of making them productive members of society. As an alumnus of the Polytechnic Ibadan, the Oni of Ife, Obadeyeye Enito Ogunwusi, charged graduates to continually uphold the institution's reputation as good ambassadors. The monarch donated 6 million naira to the overall best graduating students, while the best students from all faculties received 1.5 million naira each. A total of 4,933 graduates received National Diploma and Higher National Diploma Awards for the 2024-2025. Olamiposi Ishola, BCS News.
The commissioning of the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, newly installed 500 kVA 33 kV transformer holds on Monday the 22nd of December 2025. Venue is the BCOS premises. The Oyo State Commissioner for Energy and Mineral Resources, Professor Dawood Songodoyin, will commission the transformer.
Now to sports. The forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations AFCON has delivered a flurry of controversies that have turned the build-up into one of drama. From shock squad omissions to internal power struggles, African football's biggest tournament is once again living up to its reputation for unpredictability. One of the earliest talking points emerged from the Ivory Coast, where Nicolas Pepe and Simon Adingra were surprisingly left out of the national team squad. The indomitable Lions also made headlines with reports of a deepening rift between the team's head coach, Mark Bryce, and Cameroon Football Federation President Samuel Eto'o. The conflict reportedly began after goalkeeper Andre Onana was excluded from the initial squad, prompting Eto'o to intervene and demand his inclusion. Nigeria's preparations for the AFCON 2025 have been overshadowed by controversy following the announcement of the Super Eagles squad. The inclusion of veteran midfielder Mohamed Usman, who was not featured for the national team in over 7 years, left fans and pundits questioning the selection criteria.
On the foreign scene, at least 16 people have been killed in an artillery bombardment of a besieged city in Sudan's embattled Kordofan region. This is adding to a mounting civilian death toll as the country's brutal civil war enters a critical phase deep into its third year. Foreign desk editor Folashade Akintola compiled details of these and other stories as presented by Bimbo Akabi.
The Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and the allies in the Sudan's People's Liberation Movement, North, SPLMN, shelled residential areas of Dilin in South Kordofan over the past 2 days into Friday. According to the Sudan Doctors Network, a medical monitoring group, women, elderly residents and children were among those killed in what the group condemned as the deliberate targeting of civilians. The attack on Dilin is part of an escalating campaign of violence across Kordofan that has killed more than 100 civilians since early December, as fighting in Sudan's war shifted from the Western Darfur region to the strategic central heartland, where the conflict's outcome will be decisively affected. Bangladeshi security forces have moved into the streets of the capital, Dhaka, and other major cities after overnight violence erupted over the death of a prominent youth leader of the 2024 uprising, raising fears of further unrest ahead of February's national elections. Police and paramilitary units increased patrols across Dhaka after protests turned out late on Thursday, targeting media offices, political buildings and cultural institutions. While streets were largely quiet on Friday morning, protests are expected to grow throughout the day. The latest turbulent chapter in the nation's recent history followed the death of Sharif Usman Hadi, a 32-year-old spokesperson for Inquilab Monco, or Platform for Revolution, who had planned to contest the upcoming elections. Masked attackers shot Hadi in the head last Friday in Dhaka as he launched his campaign. United States forces have killed 5 more people on board vessels in the Pacific Ocean, bringing the death toll from the Trump administration's military campaign against alleged seaborne drug traffickers to at least 104 since September. The U.S. military's Southern Command, SOUTHCOM, said on Friday that it carried out lethal kinetic strikes on 2 vessels in the Eastern Pacific at the instruction of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, killing 3 people in one vessel and 2 in another. Thursday's attack by United States forces comes 1 day after a strike on another vessel, also in international waters in the Eastern Pacific, which killed 4 people, SOUTHCOM said. While the U.S. military said the 9 victims of the attacks over 2 days were male narco terrorists, Washington has provided no proof that the almost 30 vessels destroyed since September in the Pacific and Caribbean, resulting in more than 100 dead, were involved in drug trafficking. Defense Secretary Exet is also under intense scrutiny for reportedly ordering a second strike on survivors who clung to floating boat debris after an earlier attack on the vessel. Attacking shipwreck survivors is considered a war crime, according to legal experts. Bimbo Akambi, BCUS News.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the top stories. President Bola Tinubu has earmarked 5.41 trillion naira for security, the single largest allocation in the proposed 2026 budget.
The Independent National Electoral Commission today intervened in the leadership crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, summoning the party's rival factions to its headquarters in Abuja.
The Oluyole State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has pledged to uplift cultural heritage in the state as he officially inaugurates the Dr. Oluyole Park, located along Airport Road, Alakia, Ibadan.
On the foreign scene, at least 16 people have been killed in artillery bombardment of a besieged city in Sudan's embattled Kordofan region.
That's all from the Newscope desk for now. It was packaged by Mary Adedapo and delivered by Idowu Shekoni and
Josephine Oluwabome. Thanks for listening. Do not forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 p.m. Good evening.